The call that changed everything. Ever since I was a young boy, I've had a picture of what my future would look like. I was always believed that I would grow up to become a police officer. I aspired to be a police officer more than anything else. That is no longer the case. I knew and loved everything that a police officer stood for. Once I turned 16, I was finally old enough to go on ride-along. I was beyond excited and grateful for the opportunity to ride with my uncle, who is a police officer in the city of San Diego, California. The ride-along was pretty uneventful at first. We responded to normal calls such as neighbor disturbances and a shoplifting call. At about 4 p.m. a call came through and the dispatcher informed us that there was a child bleeding out in a nearby home. When we arrived at the house, my uncle ran inside and I followed. When I entered the house, my uncle had already made it to the top of the stairs and he was holding what appeared to be a teenager in his arms. After entering the house, everything seemed to occur in slow motion. I made it to the top of the stairs and found my uncle putting pressure on the neck of a teenager who was profusely bleeding. While this was occurring, the father of the teenager was frantically screaming for my uncle to help his son. As I stood there in shock, another officer arrived and CPR was commenced. CPR did nothing and the kid was pronounced dead on the scene. Detectives eventually got there and began their investigation as to why this kid was bleeding profusely from his neck. After some investigating, the detectives discovered that the teenager and his friends were playing the pass-out game, and when he passed out he fell forward and landed on a glass cup. The glass cup shattered in his neck and that's how all the bleeding occurred. Even to this day I can still hear the father yelling at my uncle, "Help my son," and it still gives me the chills. The amount of trauma that I was exposed to on the call was really an eye-opener for me. It is this trauma that police officers deal with every day on their job. This trauma is the reason I no longer want to be a police officer.